The division between the theist and the atheist is not just about belief in God or denial of God. It is about the mind's deep need for certainty, identity, and comfort. Whether one says, God exists, or God does not exist, both are operating from a belief system that gives them a sense of psychological security. The theist clings to the idea of a higher power, a protector, a giver of justice and love, while the atheist often finds comfort in logic, science, and personal responsibility. But both are trying to find answers to the same fundamental questions. Why are we here? What is life? What happens after death? These are not just questions. They are deep emotional inquiries rising from a mind that is afraid of the unknown. The moment the mind feels uncertain, it creates beliefs to protect itself. A belief is not truth. It is just a thought repeated over time, accepted without question, and used as a shield against fear. For example, a child born into a religious family is taught to believe in a certain God, rituals, and customs. That belief becomes their identity, not because they have understood or explored, but because they have been conditioned from birth. Similarly, a child raised in a scientific environment may be taught to reject all religious ideas, again, not from deep inquiry, but from being influenced by the atmosphere around them. Beliefs are like clothes, given by society, worn by the individual, and rarely questioned. They provide a kind of inner comfort, like a warm blanket on a cold night. But comfort is not the same as truth. The mind, when insecure, builds walls of belief to feel safe. It says, this is right, that is wrong, this is good, that is evil, without ever asking why it thinks so. This mental conditioning becomes the foundation of conflict in families, societies, and nations. When someone challenges a belief, it feels like a personal attack, because people don't just hold beliefs, they become their beliefs. And this is where psychological suffering begins. The constant need to defend a belief creates fear, anger, and division. People stop listening, stop questioning, and start protecting their mental positions. One person may say, only my religion is true, while another says, only science can explain everything. But both are trapped in the same psychological structure of belief-based identity. True intelligence is not about having strong beliefs. It is about having the courage to question everything, including your own thoughts. Rationality means observing without bias, listening without immediately judging, and being open to truth, even if it is uncomfortable. Rationality is not cold or emotionless. It is deeply alive because it refuses to live in illusions. It asks, is this real? Where did this thought come from? Am I believing this because I truly see it, or because I was told to believe it? This kind of questioning does not lead to quick answers. It leads to awareness. And from awareness, real transformation happens. For example, a young person may be taught that success means getting a high-paying job. But one day they may stop and ask, does this really make me happy? In that moment of sincere questioning, a door opens. The person is no longer a slave to a belief, but an explorer of life. Society often discourages this kind of questioning because it threatens the structure. Schools, religions, and even governments prefer obedient minds, not questioning minds. But without questioning, there can be no freedom. Rational thinking protects individuality because it allows each person to find their own understanding rather than copying others. A rational society is not one where everyone agrees. It is one where people are free to doubt, to explore, and to change. This freedom is not just political, it is psychological. When you stop depending on beliefs for comfort, you begin to see things clearly. You see that the mind is always searching for security, through belief in God or belief in science or belief in love or even belief in yourself. But security in thought is an illusion, because thought itself is always changing. What you believed 10 years ago may not be what you believe now. So how can any belief be called truth? Faith and belief often ask us to stop questioning. They say, Just trust. Just believe. But truth does not need belief. The sun rises whether you believe in it or not. Truth is what is. It doesn't belong to any religion, any ideology, or any book. To see truth, the mind must be completely still, not believing, not disbelieving, just observing. This observation is meditation. It is a quiet, alert watching of the mind and its movements. For example, when anger arises, instead of justifying it or suppressing it, one can watch it silently, asking, "Where is this coming from?" In that simple watching, the truth of anger starts to reveal itself, not through belief, but through direct perception. This is real freedom. The mind wants comfort, and belief offers that comfort. But truth often comes with discomfort, because it breaks illusions. If someone believes they are always right, the truth of their mistakes may feel painful. But this pain is necessary, like the pain of removing a thorn from the skin. It hurts for a moment, but it heals. Comfort without truth is like living in a soft bed that slowly turns into a prison. But truth, even if uncomfortable, sets you free. This freedom is not something that comes after death or in another world. It is available now, in this moment, when the mind stops running after beliefs and starts looking inward. Imagine two friends walking through a forest. One believes the forest is dangerous and full of snakes, while the other believes it is peaceful and full of beauty. They are walking in the same place, but their experiences are shaped by their beliefs. One is afraid, tense, and anxious. The other is calm, joyful, and open. The forest didn't change, their minds did. This is how beliefs shape our psychology. What we believe determines how we feel, how we act, and how we see the world. But beliefs are often blind. They do not arise from clear vision. They arise from fear, from conditioning, from past experiences. A child bitten by a dog may believe all dogs are dangerous. An adult betrayed in love may believe no one can be trusted. These beliefs may feel true, but they are not truth. They are shadows of the past, coloring the present. Rationality allows us to look at life without these shadows. It says, "Yes, I was hurt, but is everyone the same? Yes, I was taught this, but does it still make sense?" Rational thinking is like cleaning a dirty window. You begin to see clearly, but it takes honesty, patience, and courage. The mind resists this process because it wants quick answers, and beliefs offer those. But life is not a math problem with one solution. It is a living, flowing mystery. The more you question, the more alive you become. You are no longer limited by labels: atheist, theist, spiritual, materialist. You become a student of life, humble and curious. Psychological security is one of the deepest human needs. People want to feel safe, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Beliefs give that feeling of safety. They tell you who you are, what is right, what will happen after death. But is this safety real or just imagined? A person may believe that praying to a certain God will protect them, but when tragedy strikes, that belief is shaken. Then fear returns, and they search for another belief. This cycle continues endlessly. Real psychological security comes not from belief, but from understanding. When you understand how your mind works, how it creates fear, how it seeks pleasure, how it clings to ideas, you begin to move beyond it. You are no longer afraid of not knowing. You can stand in the unknown with strength and stillness. To seek truth as it is means to look at life without filters, not through the lens of religion or science or philosophy, but directly. This seeing does not require education or intelligence or spiritual power. It only requires honesty. For example, when someone feels lonely, instead of escaping into a belief like God is with me or I don't need anyone, they can just sit with the feeling and observe it. What is loneliness? Where does it come from? Can it be watched without judgment? In this observation, loneliness begins to change. It reveals its roots, maybe fear of abandonment or a desire for validation. And once the roots are seen clearly, they lose their power. This is healing through awareness. Belief divides, but observation unites. Two people from different religions may never agree on their beliefs, but if both observe their minds deeply, they will meet in silence. That silence is beyond belief and beyond words. It is the space where real connection happens. In that space, there is no theist or atheist, just a human being, awake and aware. This is the foundation of a new world. A world where people are not trapped in identities, not fighting over ideologies, but living from clarity, love, and understanding. This kind of living requires a deep shift, not a change in what we believe, but a change in how we look. From seeking comfort in belief to seeking truth in awareness. From repeating old patterns to watching them silently. From reacting blindly to responding with intelligence. This shift does not come from effort, it comes from attention. Just paying attention to your own thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your fears. And in this attention, a new intelligence is born. Not the intelligence of books or theories, but the intelligence of insight. In daily life, this means becoming aware of how beliefs influence everything. From small choices like what to wear or eat, to big decisions like who to marry or what career to follow. It means asking, is this what I truly feel, or is this what I've been told to feel? Am I doing this because I see its value, or because others expect it? These questions are not meant to create doubt, but to awaken understanding. Doubt that leads to awareness is more valuable than belief that leads to blindness. So whether one calls themselves a theist or an atheist is not the real issue. The real issue is, are you living from fear or from clarity? Are you believing or are you seeing? Are you repeating what you've been told, or are you discovering for yourself? These are the questions that matter. And in the journey of exploring them, something beautiful happens. The mind becomes quiet, the heart becomes open, and life becomes a living meditation, not based on belief but on truth as it is.